Hi there, welcome back to Girls in Retrograde. How are you? ¿Qué tal estás? ¿Qué tal te han tratado estas últimas 2 semanas desde que saqué el último episodio? How you been? You been good? I hope so. Listen, I know Mercury's retrograding. Did you know? You didn't know? Now you know. And if you didn't know, you're probably like, connecting the dots and you're like, I know. Listen, I don't even know because estoy grabando esto 2 días antes de que Mercury actually goes retrograding. And I'm already noticing the shadows of it. You know, the amount of times I have started this episode. And I'm literally just telling myself, Daniela, that's it. Stop starting the episode and just do it. I am in a change of scenery today. As you can tell, I'm a little bit cozy today. It's freezing. Nos helamos. Los que vivimos en Londres, está haciendo muchísimo frío. No me pregunten por qué llevo camiseta de manga corta ahora mismo. No les sabría responder. Era lo primero que encontré. Me he puesto mi mantita. Me he puesto aquí todos los cojines por detrás. Y he dicho, ya está. No me va a preocupar. Ay. Encima nevó el otro día. Y una de las cosas de cuando vives en un país donde puede llegar a hacer tanto frío que puedes llegar a ver nieve, pues es ver la nieve, ¿no? Bueno, pues me lo perdí. Me dormí porque nevó súper temprano y era mi día libre del trabajo, mi día off. Y me levanté a ver las historias de la gente en Instagram de que lo habían visto y yo, it hurt a little bit. I gotta be a little bit dramatic because I missed it. A lot of people saw it, I didn't, and I was like, what a shame. But it's okay. Hopefully it will snow again. Maybe we'll have a white Christmas. That would be so exciting. Let me break it down for you why Mercury retrograde, they make such a big deal out of it. Mercury is a planet that rules thoughts, communication, how we think. So when it retrogrades, it's like our mental process hits a rewind. Girls in retrograde, right? In this time, we're being forced to take a step back. So things happen out of our control. Things happen that makes us question things. It's a moment for us to hit rewind and deep clean, you know. Mercury retrograde has a reputation for causing chaos, frustration, like everything suddenly goes wrong, right? Missed calls, you want to text your ex, please do not listen to me right now. Put the phone down. Do not text your ex. Girl. Because you're going to regret it later. I'm telling you, you're going to regret it later. There is delays, probably, when you're traveling in the airport, in flights. If you sign a contract or if you start a new job when Mercury is retrograding as well, maybe later on you might regret it, or maybe things weren't the way that you thought they were supposed to be, you know? So it's a time to take a step back and think things thoroughly, you know, before making any decision. Now I am aware that, you know, things happen and you cannot be like, I'm going to wait until Mercury finishes retrograding for me to make a decision, you know, like, no, because life happens and you have to be making decisions and like, you can't control it. The thing is to be aware of it. So of course, when life takes you suddenly on a different direction or it takes a detour, things don't go the way that we expect. It's natural to feel like everything is going wrong and we have lost our way. We feel like we're wasting time, right? And we categorize this period of time as something bad. But I would like you to see it today from a different perspective. Because these detours, these little mishaps or things that you did not expect to happen, don't necessarily mean that it's something bad or that there is a problem. What happens is that the way that we try to control life is the problem. Because guys, being able to control life and everything that happens in it is not a reality. It's basically impossible. You can't control life. Things are always going to happen that is going to be out of your hands, out of your control, you know? Mercury retrograde happens for us to understand that we cannot control the outcome of situations. We cannot control the outcome of everything, and that is okay. It forces us to create harmony within the chaos that our mind has created. Yes, it's paradoxical, right? It's very contradictory, harmony and chaos, but it is possible and it works. Because you're trying to control life instead of moving with it. What do I mean with this? Is like these moments of delays, of thinking about texting your ex, changing a job, applying to new jobs, miscommunication, and when you're having a conversation with someone, there's probably going to be miscommunication. All of this is just a reminder, again, that whatever we try to communicate to someone, they might perceive it in a different way. You cannot control what the other person is going to think. So this chaos that is happening right now that we didn't expect helped us practice letting go of control, letting go of expectations, letting go of attachments to certain things and how we handle it. So think of it as a time to rethink and learn from all of this. Learn where we might overly attached to certain things happening a specific way, in a predictable way. So yes, Mercury retrograde is the perfect time to blame everything happening on it. But also, don't forget to ask yourself, what sort of mindset or ways of thinking, Mercury, you've unconsciously might have adopted that are holding you back. Listen, I know it's hard because things happen and they're out of your control. But that's the point. I don't know if I'm getting somewhere with this. That's literally the point of life. You cannot control things. You cannot control the outcome of things. You might expect something happening. You might have an expectation of a situation. You might want to communicate something to someone, and it doesn't go the way that you hope to, that you were controlling, that was going to happen a certain way. What is holding me back to learn from this experience? And I know it's hard because, listen, you're allowed to complain. Shit happens, okay? And I'm not saying for you to like, oh my God, learn from everything. Yes, but no, a balance. Feel your emotions. Feel angry. Feel sad. Feel however you need to feel. Feel it. Once you realize that things are absolutely out of your control, as much as you try to control them, I swear to you that things become easier to cope with. So we need to let go of the mentality that we got it all figured out and that is going to happen that way. But it's okay. Don't panic. It's not a bad thing. It's just a moment for us to pause, breathe, rethink. Okay? In the last episode, I intertwine psychology and astrology in the way that I see it. Now, listen, I am no professional astrologer. I'm no professional psychologist. I am just a curious person. I'm someone that my mind is constantly on work. I cannot shut up. Honestly, my mind does not shut up. And it's always very curious. Whenever I find a passion in something, whenever I find something very interesting, I go in and I want to know. Again, I am just starting my journey of taking it a little bit more seriously, right? But I've been always passionate about it, and astrology has always been a very big part of my life. It has helped me cope. It has helped me heal. It has helped me navigate certain situations, navigate relationships. It has helped me understand how to love myself and get into that, step into that power, step into that confidence, that they hit us left and right with self-love. Love yourself. You gotta be confident. Yes, girl, work it. Hey, ooh, ah. Amazing, beautiful. I love it. I'm not saying no, but it's hard work. Loving yourself is not linear. I'm a very emotional person. I tend to give out. I tend to pour others and I forget to pour myself, And whilst in my journey of learning astrology, I saw the similarities of it with psychology. And I've also gone to therapy. And when I went to therapy, the therapist, I loved her so much. She also talked to me about how she saw similarities with astrology and psychology. I briefly mentioned it in the past episode, but I got a little bit caught up into the emotions, the vulnerability, the pain, right? That I wasn't able to tell you guys what do the planets mean? Because we obviously know that Mercury is communication, the way we think, but I don't only want to touch on that. I want to tell you what each planet represents and what psychological function they would have within us. This is just my own research and my own learning and exploration that I'm putting out there. Okay? I want to clarify that because I don't want to then later on, that there's any sort of confusion or that there is sort of misunderstanding about it, because I am not out here saying, oh yeah, I'm an astrologer. I'm not. I'm just a very curious person. Okay, so let's talk about each planet and what it represents. But first, I would like to mention the ascendant and the rising. Whilst it is not a planet, of course it deserves to be mentioned because it represents a key facet of someone's identity, and leaving it out might feel incomplete in this context when talking about psychological functions. The ascendant or rising is the first impression. It's an external filter of our personality, which shapes how someone interacts with the world, with the outside world. Now, for me, it is also seen as someone's life path or destiny, representing the characteristics that each of us are meant to learn and investigate. Yes, I repeat, this is not a planet. It's actually a mathematical point in the chart. It marks where in the sky the sun was rising at the time of your birth. So it's tied to the rotation of the earth. It shifts and it changes roughly every 2 hours. That's why exact birth times are everything in astrology. It sets the stage for your entire chart, and it changes so fast that it really makes you one of a kind. It's also the starting point of the houses, but we'll get into that later on. So let's start with the sun. Is your main character energy. It represents your core self, your identity, the spark that makes you, you. Is how you express your authentic self and chase purpose. How you shine, basically. And without it, without the sun, everything falls apart. It's the part of you shouting, this is who I am. Esta soy yo y aquí estoy. Esta es mi identidad. ¿Entiendes? Ese es tu sol. The questions that the sun sign would ask and would represent: how do I shine? What gives me purpose? What defines my essence? What drives me? What makes me feel alive? Those are the questions that the sun has. And remember, they are represented with the qualities of the zodiac sign that it is. So we all know that the sun stays in each sign for a month, We have Sagittarius season, Capricorn season, Aquarius, Pisces, So all of it stays roughly a month. Vamos a la luna. La luna es nuestro GPS emocional. Es las emociones, la intuición y esas necesidades internas que no queremos enseñar al mundo. El rol psicológico que tiene, the emotional core, the instinctive reactions, is what makes you feel safe. Es lo que te hace sentir segura, cuidada, nurtured, and let's be real, sometimes a little bit moody. La luna es la madre, la que te cuida dentro, las emociones. Una cosa muy importante de la luna es que también representa nuestro niño, the inner child, especially how we experience our childhood. So you can find a lot about how someone experienced their childhood through the moon. I put myself as an example again. Me having my moon moon in Taurus, oppositioning Pluto. If we talk about how the emotions, the intuition, the emotional core, the reactions, all of those things that made me feel safe, nurtured, or were supposed to be making me safe and nurtured, they were abruptly changed constantly. Pluto, which is the planet of transformation, of changes. We will get into another episode in which we will talk about aspects, but I find very important to say, la luna no solamente representa pues eso, nuestras emociones, sino que también puede representar nuestra niñez, nuestro childhood, how we lived it, how we experienced it. Es esa voz pequeñita en la cabeza que nos dice, ¿puedo llorar aquí? O me lo aguanto, ¿entiendes? Esa es la luna. Lo que te preguntarías a ti mismo para entender a tu luna, ¿qué es lo que me hace sentir seguro? ¿Cómo proceso mis emociones? Esas son las preguntas de la luna. The moon is fast and moody. Indeed. Cambia de signo cada 2 días y medio. Hace un ciclo entero por todos los signos zodiacales en 29 días y medio. Moody. Moody. Very, very moody. So our moods tend to change as well, depending of, for example, today, moon is in Virgo. Girl, the way that I've been just organizing and structuring this episode, just so I don't lose myself and I don't lose track of everything. And I have it all to the T, so, I'm really proud of the way that I organized it. However, I don't know how to talk. Mercury is nearly retrograding, so I have it here, Let's talk about Mercury. Mercurio, el planeta de los pensamientos y de la comunicación. Representa cómo pensamos, cómo procesamos, incluso cómo cotillamos. No es solamente cómo hablamos. El rol psicológico gobierna nuestra mente. Cómo procesamos información y cómo expresamos nuestras brillantes o caóticas ideas. Es curioso, rápido. Mercurio es ese amigo que tienes en el teléfono y que siempre se la pasa compartiendo ideas contigo. Ahora, preguntas para entender a tu Mercurio. ¿Cómo pienso y cómo me comunico? ¿Cómo me expreso? ¿De qué manera me expreso? ¿Soy más lógico o más intuitivo? ¿Tiro más hacia la lógica o tiro más hacia la intuición? Ahora, normalmente Mercurio está entre 2 a 3 semanas en cada signo, pero cuando está retrógrado, se queda en ese signo un poquito más. Pobre signo. Se queda entre 6 a 7 semanas. Por ejemplo, ahora mismo Mercurio está en Sagitario y también estamos en época de Sagitario. Happy Sagittarius season to my babies. Honestly, I love Sagittarius season. The next season is Capricorn. My season, bitch. Entonces, claro, al no estar acostumbrados a que esté más tiempo en un signo, al estar allí más tiempo, pues ahí es cuando empieza el caos, ¿me entiendes? Porque estamos procesando todos la cosa de una misma manera, ¿me entiendes? No de una misma manera, sino que la estamos procesando de cierta manera que es parecida por bastante tiempo, ¿me entiendes? Y a nuestra mente le gusta cambiar, a nuestra mente le gusta procesar las cosas diferente, ¿me entiendes? Porque ya no solamente es que tú tengas Mercurio en Tauro, por ejemplo, sino que en lo colectivo, afuera, Mercurio puede estar pues ahora mismo en Sagitario y eso afecta, ¿me entiendes? Afecta la manera en la que lo ve el colectivo. Entonces se queda allí en ese signo por de 6 a 7 semanas, aunque el tiempo de retrógrado dura 3 semanas, pero tenemos the shadow weeks, entonces notamos Mercurio retrógrado una semana antes y una semana después de que haya pasado. Aunque el caos en sí pasa en esas 3 semanas, pero todos lo sentimos antes y después. Es como que Mercurio le está dando una clase de paciencia, una masterclass de paciencia al signo en el que está, ¿entiendes? Our beautiful Venus is the love language, your inner flirt. She's all about relationships, values, and all the things that make you feel luxurious. The psychological role that it would take is what you value, whether it's how you love in relationships, beauty, pleasure, and or self-worth. Venus show us how we connect, the love language that we crave. That's Venus. Think of Venus as the romantic in you, constantly curating your love life, your style. How would you get to know your Venus? Is what do I value? How do I connect with others? What makes me feel loved? What do I find beautiful and valuable? So Venus spends about 3 to 4 weeks in each sign, though when it retrogrades, it stretches it out. It's more rare than Mercury in retrograde. It happens every 18 months, and it lasts for about 6 weeks. Similar to Mercury retrograde, between 6 and 7 weeks, but this one lasts 6 weeks. And oh my god, the drama that it brings, Venus in retrograde. I'm not gonna lie, I fear more Venus retrograde than I fear Mercury retrograde. The last Venus in retrograde that hit me hard was 2 years ago, and definitely made me question a lot of things in that relationship. couple of months ago. Obviously, that relationship has ended, but definitely I remember in that moment we both questioned, and we both questioned ourselves if we wanted to break up, if we wanted to continue the relationship, you know? And I remember I talked about it with a couple of friends, and all of them were like, oh my God, you too? And I was like, yes. They were like, everyone was having arguments with their partners, and a couple of people broke up as well. But definitely arguments between partners happened, you know? Now that I think about it, it's nothing to fear at the end of the day, because it's normal. You argue with your partner, you argue with your couples, you know? It's just that it feels more intense during the time that Venus is retrograding, because it makes you rethink all of it in a deeper way. You know what I mean? It brings a lot of drama. Relationships, self-worth, beauty, money, and absolutely everything goes under review without you realizing, unconsciously. While Venus doesn't retrograde that often, when she does, it definitely leaves a mark. Now let's go with our beautiful Mars. Marte representa nuestro guerrero interno, ¿vale? Marte representa acción, nuestro impulso, nuestros deseos, nuestro deseo ardiente, ¿me entiendes? Eso que nos mueve. El rol psicológico es donde nuestras ambiciones, nuestros instintos y nuestras pasiones viven. Es como nosotros vamos a por lo que queremos, sin pedir disculpas, sin nada. Cuando queremos algo y lo tenemos en mente y lo tenemos ahí, así es como vamos, ¿me entiendes? Marte es el que toma esa decisión y el que lo hace. Y también Marte puede, pues, sacar cosas de relaciones, igual que Venus, pero es diferente. Es esa química, es esa atracción física. Es como peleas y cómo flirteas, you know? Cómo te puedes acercar a esa persona, a eso que deseas. La ambición que le pones a lo que quieres. Preguntas que uno le hace a Marte. ¿Qué me motiva? ¿Cómo manejo el conflicto? Piénsalo. Marte, es verdad que es un poquito más intenso, se queda en cada signo entre 6 a 8 semanas. Y también dependiendo de sus ciclos retrógrados. These planets were the fast planets, which also happen to shape our daily experiences. Now, for the heavy hitters, for the big ones, for the big planets, the ones that transform generations. Muchas generaciones comparten estos planetas en el mismo signo. Let's start with Jupiter. Jupiter is our cosmic cheerleader, okay? It represents expansion, faith, and the philosophy that keeps you moving forward. Psychological role, that's the part of you that craves meaning, optimism, and that undeniable urge to expand your horizons, whether it's through travel, learning, or just dreaming of something greater. Jupiter is a lucky planet. You know, it's a planet of luck, some might say. What questions would you ask Jupiter? What inspires me? What is my big picture outlook? How do I expand and take risks? Now, Jupiter spends around 1 year in each sign. So its energy is more focused on long-term growth and expansion. Now, next, let's go con Saturno. Saturno. Saturno es ese tough love, el padre. Saturno es el padre, la verdad. Saturno es el que te enseña lecciones duras con amor, pero no con ese amor, sino con amor duro. Representa disciplina and boundaries. The psychological role, that's your sense of responsibility, structure, and those life lessons that sting but makes you stronger. Saturn is where you face limits, meet challenges, and how you build the resilience to rise above them. It's not here to cuddle you. It's not here to be loving and nice. Not at all. It's here to make sure that you earn every bit of greatness you're capable of. Tough love, a hard one, but a good one. You would ask Saturn, right, is where do I feel restricted? How do I learn resilience? How do I handle pressure and responsibility? Saturn hangs out for about 2.5 years per sign, making very, very sure that we learn our lessons the hard way. Urano. Uranus is the wild card in your chart, okay? He is the rebellious. He is the rebel of the chart. It represents innovation, changes, and the craving for freedom. The psychological role, it governs our need for freedom to break free, stand out, and embrace your individuality. It's about evolution, how you break old patterns and how you open doors to new perspectives. Think of it as the spark that sets your inner rebel on fire. You know what I mean? The things that you would ask Uranus. How do I embrace change? How do I handle change? What makes me unique? Being the rebel that it stays about 7 years in each sign, shaking up the collective as well, you know? Let's go with our beautiful, lovely, and gorgeous Neptune. Neptuno es el planeta soñador. Representa nuestros sueños, la espiritualidad y esa imaginación que nos deja escapar la realidad. El rol psicológico que representa es cómo conectas tú con esa intuición, con tu imaginación, tu mente creativa. ¿Qué tipo de conexión espiritual puedes tener? Pero Neptuno es una espada con dos filos. No sé si eso lo dije bien. Es verdad que es donde uno sueña, pero es también donde puedes perderte en tus ilusiones. Hay una línea muy fina entre esos dos. Neptuno es místico, es trascender esa realidad, es el artista en ti, pero también es el que hace que perdamos el hilo del tiempo mientras estamos soñando despiertos. ¿Qué le preguntaríamos a Neptuno? ¿Qué inspira mis sueños? ¿Cómo me conecto con algo más grande? ¿Me entiendes? Hablando de espiritualidad, ya no estoy hablando de espiritualidad en espiritualidad, sino de qué manera tú te conectas a esa parte tuya, a esa parte de espiritualidad. Neptuno es soñador, va un poco más despacio, se queda alrededor de 14 años por signo, guiando nuestra evolución espiritual en generaciones. Y por último tenemos a Plutón, que es nuestro Fénix, representando transformación, poder y la energía de ese renacimiento. El rol psicológico es donde están tus mayores miedos, tus miedos más profundos, esas sombras que has estado evadiendo. ¿Cómo puedes tocar ese poder para poder crear ese cambio profundo, para poder liberarte de esas sombras? Eso es Plutón. Plutón no lo hace de un nivel superficial. Plutón te llega al alma, o sea, quiere llegar al alma lo más profundo para que cuando salga más fuerte, más sabio, más imparable de lo que eras. Es intenso, Pluto es intenso. Ay, pero corazones, todos somos intensos. Tú eres intenso, claro que eres. ¿Estás escuchando Girls in Retrograde? 100% you're intense. Shut up, you're intense. ¿Qué le preguntarías a Plutón? ¿Qué parte de mí necesita esa renovación? How do I embrace change? ¿De qué manera manejo los cambios? Eso estaba pensando en español, chicos. Ahora, Plutón, él es el más lento, es el rey lento de la transformación y puede estar entre 12 a 30 años en un mismo signo. Ahora que estamos hablando de nuestro querido Plutón, me gustaría mencionar que Plutón entró en Acuario oficialmente el 19 de noviembre y estará allí hasta el 24 de marzo de 2043. 20 años, chicos. Ahora, se preguntarán, ¿qué significa eso? Porque acaban de escuchar lo que he dicho de que es Plutón. Es el planeta de transformaciones. Y ahora lo vamos a mirar del colectivo, porque cada planeta representa algo, no solamente en nuestro mundo interno, pero también representa lo colectivo, en lo que está pasando en el mundo. Plutón in Aquarius is a big deal. It's a very big deal. Transformation energy, shaking it up, the collective and how we deal with power. Think about it. Pluto brings those deep and unavoidable changes. And our lovely sign of Aquarius is all about progress, technology, and the collective good. So together we're looking at a major shift in how power is distributed. It's a whole vibe of breaking all systems to create something that actually serves humanity. Now, there is no need for you to panic, okay? There's absolutely no need for you to panic with Pluto entering Aquarius, though, because this kind of change takes time. It's not the sort of change that's going to happen in just one night to another. Listen, Pluto's going to be there for 20 years, okay? So Next episode, I will talk about what it means for Pluto being in Aquarius at the beginning of the episode. And then we'll dive into whatever I want to talk about. But yeah, I hope this helped you to understand what each planet means, the psychological role that it takes within us, to understand, to ask yourself those questions. But the thing about it, right, you don't only have to ask yourself those questions. If you figure out your natal chart, when the planet is in a certain sign, that planet is taking the qualities of the sign, is the way that is approaching these things. An archetype. These questions of that, for example, that you ask Mercury, how do I think and communicate? How do I express myself? All of this can be sort of answered with depending of the sign that is in that planet. You know what I mean? In my case, Mercury is in Capricorn. So the way that I think, I communicate, and the way that I talk and process information is very practical. Tired, you guys. I'm tired. I actually do have a little Capricorn placements. But yeah, I think in a very practical way. I try to make everything practical and, try to find solutions. The way that I process things is I try not to panic. I try to think it through, and I absorb the information and then say it out loud in a practical way. Capricorn, So I'm able to know that and understand that because I've read it. You don't have to resonate with it again. You can go and learn about it and be like, actually, I don't resonate with it. But that's okay. That's okay. That's fully okay. It's just that if you are interested in answering these things about yourself, how do you communicate? What makes you feel safe? How do I shine? What gives me purpose? Answering all these questions is just a step closer to getting to know yourself, to getting to understand yourself, to getting to love yourself. I'm all about that, you guys. I'm all about loving yourself. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there because I genuinely thought that this episode was not going to be as long as this has been. Motherfucker, talking about the planets, that was, oh my God. But, this was good. It was a little bit more lighthearted. It was more informative. So you have a nice overview, a summary about what each planet represents. And I hope it helps. I hope it helps you navigate. Take out your natal chart, have a look what it means, have a look at what sign it is. Have fun, enjoy. And remember, if you do know the time of birth, it will make it easier. And if you know by the minute, even better, my love, even better. I hope it helps you navigate your inner world to understand yourself better, which is the point about life, understanding ourselves. Find that happiness within, understanding that, Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you enjoy this. Have a great next 2 weeks. When I'm back in the next episode, Mercury won't be retrograding anymore. Thank God. And the chaos will be gone. Literally, the shadow will be finished. So, yeah. Thank you so much again for listening to me ranting about planets and stars and yada yada. But yeah, this is so much fun. Can't wait for the next one. Love you. See you. Bye, gorgeous.